Welcome to the Football Expert, the voice for college football and your home for NFL draft analysis, game breakdowns, bold predictions, scouting reports, and so much more. This is the ultimate destination for any college football fan looking for community here on YouTube. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so that way you never miss another video. And join the college football community all the way from California, Texas, Illinois, Michigan, and all the way here to South Carolina. Let's get to the video. Break. And we're back here once again with another video. Today we are looking at the ACC Conference, giving our preview and prediction on each team in the ACC, giving you our rankings, and I have some good news. We have some major disagreements on a couple of these rankings, so we should have some fun with these. As always, I'm the football expert, joined here by the American Football Network. Lincoln, we're back for a good one. The ACC Conference, your Tigers, I have them at the bottom, number 17. So pretty much the worst team in college football. But outside of that, as you were, South Carolina had.
Yeah.
But, yeah, let's get into today's video. First team you have at our bottom, we'll go bottom to top.
So at the bottom, I got Boston College coming in at 17. And I feel like you can put BC or North Carolina here. I don't feel like either one of these teams is going to win a conference game unless, let me look, they may play each other.
They do not play.
They do not. So neither one of these teams is winning a conference game. I just don't think Boston College is a very good team. They have a good quarterback with Mason McKenzie, who I think can make some plays for them, but I just don't think there's enough around this team that can really change the outcome of any of the games. So I think Maine's probably about the only team they're going to beat this year.
Yeah, I think that you're about right with that. So at the bottom of my list, I have the same thing as you. I do have Boston College and I have UNC. So we're both very similar on those two rankings. I think that we'll be very close in those rankings overall. So Boston College, UNC at the bottom for both of us. Number 14.
At number 14 for me, 15.
15,
at 15, I got Stanford. They got a fun little quarterback, but I just don't see this team having much. They got a decently tough schedule. I don't think Stanford's really going to be competitive in a lot of these football games. I think they are able to maybe squeeze out an ACC win, but other than that, I'm not very high on Stanford at all. I just think they're slightly better than BC and UNC given the schedule that they have. Slight advantage, but I could honestly see all three of those teams finishing anywhere down there together.
Yeah, no, I agree with this. I have two teams at 14, but I also have Stanford at 14 with the tie instead of at 15. So I think Stanford is a team that can get maybe a win or two in conference. I believe I have them with 2 wins in conference. I just think that Stanford is a team that has possibly some momentum. I do like the coach that they hired. I'm blanking on his name. Hawaiian name that I'm going to butcher if I knew it anyway, so probably better I didn't. But Stanford, they have some struggles defensively. They just have not been able to recruit at the same level that they have been previously. Running back position has fallen way off since Bryce Love in that Notre Dame game and got hurt. So I think Stanford, number 14, I have them. Number 14 as well for me, I have Florida State in this spot. I think that Florida State is a struggle bus of a program, and I think Mike Norvell gets fired at the end of the year. I don't think the quarterback situation is good. I think the defense is going to be horrible. I just don't think Florida State's going to be any good.
Yeah, I don't think Florida State's going to be any good either, but coming in at 14 for me is a team that you're insanely high on. I would imagine a lot of it has to do with them having a Notre Dame transfer at quarterback with Steve Angeli, but I got Syracuse at 14. Syracuse flat out sucks. They won, 3 games last year. I don't see it being much better this year. I have Syracuse down at the bottom. I just don't expect much of anything out of them this year.
Okay, well, I'm going to disagree with that. So I'll go into my rationale when I rank them. We got a little bit before we get there, though. Cal at number 13. I could see this team being higher. This is one of the teams that I see as possibly a sleeper. Personally, Jared Salabuateli at quarterback, honestly, is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. He could very well compete to get this California team. maybe 7 wins. I think that they have a reasonable shot at getting to the 7-win mark. So I think that when we're looking at Cal, you have a home game against UCLA. You win that game possibly. I do think you have a favorite because you're home. Road game against Syracuse, I do think that you lose that game because Syracuse is just a tough opponent on the road, especially that early on in the year. Wagner win. Clemson at home, that's going across the country. You never know with that game.
And it's a Friday night game.
It is a Friday, and you know how Friday night games with Clemson play out. They never play out well. At UNLV, I have that as a loss because I think UNLV is going to be one of the best programs in the country at a Group of 5 level.
I think so too. Yeah, I also have that game down as a loss.
And Virginia Tech, I think, could be close. Wake Forest could be close. NC State could be close. Pitt could be close. Those are all home games that I mentioned. Then you have SMU on the road and Virginia on the road. So I think that this team has possibilities, but whether they actually live up to that is a whole other question.
Yeah, I agree. I like the quarterback. I like Cal, and I have them ranked a little bit later on. But for me, coming in at number 13, I have Wake Forest. This is a team that was very quiet last year, but very good, finishing 9-4 overall. Now, just 4-4 in the ACC, but a good season for Wake Forest last year, but lose pretty much everybody that contributed to that team to the transfer portal. So I think Wake Forest, and they're going to be one of those teams too, that they're just not able to lose all that talent and replace it. Yeah. So I have Wake Forest coming in at 13. I think they could jump up and maybe hit 10 or 9, but I see them finishing about 13 this year.
Yeah, and I'm not that far off on Wake Forest at number 12 as my next team. I will say this about Wake Forest. This is where I will say I may be wrong, because I called you the other day, I don't know, a few weeks ago or something. I said, I'm ranking Wake Forest. I'm doing their prediction, and they went 9-4 last year. I'm sorry, they went what? I mean, yes, I was not paying as much attention to college football last year as I generally do, but 9-4, I'm like, well, I obviously did not watch Wake Forest. So I do think that Jake Dickard is an underrated head coach. Mm-hmm. I do think that he has some characteristics that could bring this, because here's the thing. If he consistently gets to bowl games, he can be the next Dave Clawson. You don't have to win a national championship. You don't have to make every ACC title game at Wake Forest. Make an ACC title game or two. Those are good years that everybody in the fan base remembers. There's not a whole lot of pressure at Wake Forest, so I think a down season this year is allowed. But at the same time, I did not predict last year, so I could be wrong at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's something. Who knows where they're going to finish after 9-4 last year, but predicting it, I think I have them at 13. But moving on from my number 12, I have Florida State. I think Norvell's probably gone by mid-October. If they can afford the buyout. The only reason he would still be there is if they just don't want to pay for the buyout. But I think that they're going to just be a horrible team this year. I have them winning, I think, one game in the ACC at Boston College, and that's it. Actually, no, I think I have them winning one more. I have them getting a win at Pitt.
Interesting.
Interesting. That's just a game I could see them getting. I also have them with a win against NC State at home. That just feels like a game both of those teams would lose to a bad Florida State team, and maybe they get rid of Norvell. They go on the road and get a win at Boston College, get hot to end out the year, and get smoked by Florida.
Yeah, no, I think that this Florida State team win against New Mexico State in week 0, which is not too far away, is not a guarantee. And when New Mexico State's not a guarantee, what else is a guarantee on the schedule? I have them going horribly, as I talked about before. I agree. I think Mike Norvell is let go. There's no way Florida State doesn't pay out a contract like that. Texas A&M is paying out $150 million something contract on Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but I genuinely think it's somewhere in the 70 or 80 million.
Yeah, I think it was 70-something million.
Because the original contract is $100 million. Mm-hmm. And the reason I bring him up was he's a former Florida State head coach. So you can't be wimping out here, Florida State. But at number 10 for my rankings, I have a couple teams at 10. I have Duke. And then I will head on to my next one just to explain a process here. NC State, for me, I am not as high on CJ Bailey as some people are. I think Duke is going to take a step back, and I think NC State, the schedule just does not line up super favorably. The Virginia game on the road is going to be a tough one, week 1. All right, week 0. It's just going to be a tough schedule, and I think the schedule doesn't work out for them. So that's my problem. But really, I think NC State is the best team in North Carolina this year. Duke is the second best, and Wake Forest is the third best. And I don't really think these are I think that there's a pretty big gap. Even though I have these teams very close to each other in the schedule, I think there is a pretty big gap between them.
Yeah, I think so too. And coming in at number 11 for me, I don't have a tie. I got Duke. So we're right there together on that one. I agree. If you lose Darian Mensah, you're going to take a step back. I think Duke is still a team that could finish as high as 8th in the conference, just because Manny Diaz is a very good defensive-minded coach, and they are the reigning ACC champs. So
7-5 ACC champs, mind you.
Yeah. So I mean, I could see them, finding a way to maybe finish 8th in the conference, but I think that's about the ceiling for them.
Mm-hmm.
I do think they will take a step back and be worse. Just the offense is not going to look the same without Darian Mensah for sure. That's a huge loss. So now for number 10 for me, I have Cal, and you pretty much hit on all of it. I'm just a little bit higher on them than you were. But, yeah, love the quarterback. I think that he's a guy who can keep them in positions to win games. Whether they can go and win them, we'll see. But I like Cal coming in at 10.
And here's my thing. I'll go back to the Duke thing for you. Well, it's not really Duke. Manny Diaz kind of got an unfair shake at Miami. Do you agree? I feel like Manny Diaz, even though Mario Cristobal is the right coach to be there, Manny Diaz, I feel like, is very underrated as a head coach because he did not do super poorly at Miami. Like, he never did.
I think his biggest thing is he never won a big game.
Yeah,
ever.
That's true.
Yeah, he never won a big game.
But I will give him credit.
In most of the big games, too, he did not compete. And the biggest thing that I think was his downfall at Miami was his defense fell off from him being a coordinator to transition to head coach. His defense was awful compared to what it was before.
Yeah, that's fair. So next up on my predictions, I have number 9, Clemson. Well, here's the thing. This is going to start a great debate. So if you just want to skip ahead to like minute number 25, probably we'll probably be still talking. Clemson, I'm not super high on Clemson. I don't trust the quarterback, and I think we do agree on that.
Yeah, I don't trust the quarterback. I mean, he's played one game. Yeah, he looked good. It was against the 105th ranked pass defense in the country. Yeah. So I mean, you can't really take anything away from that.
Yeah, so I'm low. I'm not low, but I just don't see Vizina playing well. I am not very high on the run game. I could be convinced, but maybe not. You lost a lot of pieces on defense. And mind you, I'm saying this as I think they're going 7-5 and 6-3 in conference. Like I think they're going to play well in the ACC, but games against LSU and South Carolina, this is me just going with the trend of the home team losing the game. But it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen, yeah. And I think I got Clemson farther on, so I'll really hit on them. But your point, they did lose some big names defensively, but when you go back and look at the production, TJ Parker did nothing all year. Yeah. Peter Woods did nothing all year. So you lose big name guys, but as far as production on the field, they don't really lose anything. I think my biggest concerns defensively for Clemson is linebacker depth and defensive tackle depth.
Well, here's the only thing I would say in Peter Woods' defense. He is not as good as we thought he was coming from high school. But he may not show up on the stat sheet as much, but the impact in the run game this year, I think, will show up. I think
he didn't impact the run game last year or the year before. I mean, go back and look at the South Carolina game from 2 years ago. And then from about that point until he left Clemson, and just look at the way teams were able to run the ball on us. Mm-hmm. He didn't really impact a game at all, ever. And TJ Parker did nothing all last year until that South Carolina game.
I agree with the TJ Parker. Yeah,
even Avion Terrell was getting burned. At least twice a game.
We talked about it.
Yeah, so you lose some big names and some talented guys for sure, but they didn't really produce for you. So I don't think the level on the field is going to drop off as much. It'll still take a slight drop But I don't think it's going to be as much as some people think when they hear, oh, you lost T.J. Parker, Peter Woods, Avion Terrell.
Yeah.
But moving on for me at number 9, I have Pittsburgh. I think this is a team that this is about where they always are going to finish for the most part. Narduzzi's going to have a good defense. They're going to have a very boring but productive offense. And they're going to lose or win every game 24-17. That's just the way it's going to go with Pitt. I think they're just a middle-of-the-pack team, a middle-of-the-pack program, and I think finishing 9th is about where Pitt's going to end up.
Yeah, and I have them a little higher, so we can get into it a little bit later. But I do feel like Mason Heinschel is a better quarterback than you may give him credit for. I do think Pitt's defense, you do lose Rasheem Biles to Texas. That's a massive loss. But I do think that you do have some pieces on that defense that are going to contribute. And Narduzzi's always found a way to get a good defensive line. We've talked about this. I even did a video on Pitt's defensive line a few years ago. So I think that Pitt is consistently good on the defensive line. So I think that they're a little bit better. At number 6 and number 3, I have three-way ties. Take it as you will. Number 6, my first team, Virginia. I'm not super high on Virginia. Like I think I have them going like I think it's 6-3 or something in conference or something like that. But I think that Virginia is going to take a step back because they had a lot of fluky wins. They barely beat a Florida State team that, they were ranked like number 5 or whatever, but they were not that good. And they just had a lot of close games that if like half of them go in their favor, which I expect this to happen this year, then they're a pretty middle of the road team.
Yeah, I could see that. So coming in at number 8 for me, I have Georgia Tech. I just think Haynes King. I mean, if you watch the NFL Hall of Fame game, you see what kind of impact this dude can make on a football field. He single-handedly won that game. And he just, if you watched him in college, like he was that offense. Now they do have a good running back, the transfer from Michigan and Haynes. I think this is probably like their 6th year now having a running back with the last name Haynes. But he's going to be a good running back, one of the best backs in the country. But my only worry is that I don't think Alberto Mendoza is going to be anything like his brother, like some people want to say. And I don't think he's going to be anything like Haynes King is either. I think he has a similar play style, so the playbook's going to look very similar, but I don't think the results and production on the field are going to look similar. I just don't. I think they'll have a solid defense, and I trust Brent Key to do pretty good with this team, but I don't trust Georgia Tech, particularly because of Alberto Mendoza.
Yeah, and I'll get into that a little bit more. I disagree on a lot of those points, and here's the reason why. Alberto Mendoza, Haynes King. How much is really different between those two guys? Like I don't know. I like Haynes King, no doubt about it. But I think Haynes is a way better running back than they've had in the past. He was averaging 6.5 yards a carry at Michigan before his first half. Yeah. And from all I can tell, he seems to be fine, doing well after the injury. So I don't think he's going to have lingering injury issues. The offensive line is better. They bring in some dynamic wide receivers that they just have not had in the past, and they do not lose a lot on defense. But we'll get into more with that. We have some discussion. I have at number 6, another team. I have SMU at that spot. SMU, I think, is a good team, solid team. Kevin Jennings is still there after year number 7. It feels like, just solid team. Like I really don't have too much to say on them other than solid team, not bad, not great, solid.
So number 7 for me, I got Virginia Tech. I'm not buying all this James Franklin hype that Virginia Tech's going like finishing top 3 in the ACC. I just don't see it. The dude's never won big games against good teams. Now, granted, his schedule doesn't have a lot of that on there, but I mean, he's taken over a program that has not been very good. I think he has some good pieces to work with year one. I think he's going to do a very decent job. Like, I think they finished 7-5, 8-4. But I'm not buying the hype that they're going to be at the top of the ACC standings and that they're going to be, potentially in the ACC championship game and making the playoff. I don't see it. If he couldn't make the playoff at Penn State, where he didn't even have to win a conference championship last year, and we saw the disaster he turned that in last year with all these expectations and stuff, I'm not buying into the expectations that he's got this year at Virginia Tech. I'm just not.
Well, I have them at number 6 as well. I have them in that slot. I do think that they're going to be better than some people expect, because I think some people think he's going to be awful. But I do think that they're going to be worse than the expectations that you're talking. I think
I see them as an above-average football team, but nothing special.
Like, I think that James Franklin, the quarterback situation was what scares me. I don't think they have a good quarterback there. I could be wrong. They bring in the Penn State transfer, and they bring in a UNC transfer.
I think Ethan Grunkemeyer is going to be the starter from Penn State.
But Grunkemeyer does not look great. Like, no. I didn't think he looked great at Penn State. So I think he's good enough to get into the top half of the ACC. But is he good enough to get past some teams that I've higher than this? No, I don't think that they are. So I have Virginia Tech at 6.
Moving on to my number 6, I have Virginia. So we got pretty even there on the 6 through 8. We're pretty much other than Georgia Tech. But yeah, I've got Virginia at 6. I think they will take a step back from last year, but I think Bo Pribula played pretty solid at Missouri last year. I think bringing him into this Virginia system is a good system for him to be in. The schedule's somewhat favorable for him. So I think this is a Virginia team that can find a way to win 8 games. I'm pretty sure I had Virginia and Virginia Tech both at 8-4, and Virginia above them because I have them beating them in the rivalry game. And so that's my take on Virginia. I think they're an above-average team. Pretty much same thing I said about Virginia Tech. They got some good pieces to work with, but they're nothing special. And they will take a step back from what they were last year. Those close call games, one-score games, they're not all going to fall Virginia's way again this year.
And here's what I will say. Virginia Tech, what a matchup that's going to be next year. The rivalry weekend, I'm going to be turning on my TV straight to Virginia, because this is the first time in I don't know how long that both of these teams have been good. Like, I genuinely, I think there was a COVID year where they were both decent.
Would that have been with Bryce Perkins at Virginia?
Yeah.
Because I know the years he was there, that rivalry was pretty good. Neither team was like great, but they were just good teams.
They were solid, but generally Virginia Tech has been a lot better than Virginia consistently. But Virginia has once in a while good teams, and then Virginia Tech will have bad teams. So I really want to see an even rivalry. Like, they don't have to be elite. If they were, that would be so much fun. Lane Stadium, an elite rivalry. That's just perfect TV right there. So at number 3 for me, or at least the 3-way tie that I talked about, I'm a little bit higher on Pitt. Here's my reasoning. I kind of said a lot of the reasoning why I should say before, but just listen to the schedule. Miami of Ohio win. USC or UCF. Sorry, can't read. I think this is a loss, but you can flip it either way. It doesn't matter for ACC standings. Syracuse win, Bucknell win, Virginia Tech win, UNC win, Boston College win, at Miami loss, Georgia Tech win, Florida State win, at Louisville loss, Cal at Cal win. None of those games that I mentioned, these are the bottom competition, even according to your own rankings and according to general consensus. These are generally more bottom half of the standings. Like, I'm higher on Georgia Tech and I'm higher on Syracuse than some people are, but this Pitt team has every reason to go 10-2, 9-3 in this season. They have no reason on earth to be doing.
I just don't see it. I don't trust Narduzzi.
Who do they lose to then?
Narduzzi's not. I just do not trust him to win those 50-50 games.
I don't know.
Win against Miami, Ohio, win against UCF, win against Syracuse, loss at Virginia Tech, win against North Carolina and Boston College, loss at Miami. I have them losing to Florida State and at Louisville.
No, they do not. They do not lose to Florida State. Like,
you'll see. Florida State.
If that happens, it would be as good as my Duke.
Florida State's going to win some ACC games this year, even though they're a terrible team. They will win an ACC game.
They'll win a ACC.
They will win.
But it is not going to be Pitt. It's not going to be on the road at Pitt. No. There's no shot that Florida State win. Here's the thing. I understand, because I have these same crazy predictions that they're just a gut feeling that it works out in the end. But to me, I just do not see the logic there in Pitt, because they have a solid defense. They have those pieces. That's just me, but it is what it is. You're number 3 or 4 or wherever we're at 5.
I think we're at 5. So for me at number 5, I got Louisville. I think this is going to be a very solid team yet again, as they have been, I don't know, the last 3-4 years consistently here.
Jeff Brom.
Jeff Brom has done a I would say a good job at Louisville. I wouldn't say great, but he's done a good job at Louisville. I think they're going to be a good team yet again this year, and I think they go 8-4, 9-3, somewhere in there. I think that this is a team that they just have the pieces and the head coach. It's mainly the head coach for me that I just trust Jeff Brom that he's going to find a way that they're going to win 8 games.
Yeah,
he will just find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This is one of the teams I think we completely agree on. I have been losing to Ole Miss in national neutral site. But here's the thing. The last few years, I think it's the last 4 years, a top 10 team has lost to an unranked team every single week.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was Alabama, Florida State. Louisville, Ole Miss. I feel like this is the matchup that Louisville's under the radar. Jeff Brom beat the ever-living crap out of Ohio State that one year.
Yeah.
Beat the crap out of Michigan another year. Beat the crap out of Iowa another year that they were highly ranked. I think Iowa was like number 4 on the road, and they destroyed them like 42-17 because, well, Iowa doesn't have an offense to keep up. But like this is a matchup that if they win that, they do not have the big dogs in the ACC. They play the best team they play in the ACC is Georgia Tech on the road.
I would say NC State on the road, but yeah,
those
are the best.
close.
Those are the best 2 teams that they're going to play. I would say.
I think they're pretty close between.
Not necessarily best teams, but 2 hardest games.
Yeah, 2
when
hardest.
You factor in the road. Yeah,
especially at NC State. That's always a tough game. But Louisville has a genuine path to going 12.
Yeah, they do.
Genuine, not easy, but. Hey, you do everything right. You do everything you're supposed to.
The problem is with these ACC teams, though, is they just don't. The teams like Louisville, they always lose to. I mean, look at even Miami last year. They lost to Louisville and SMU.
Yeah,
and missed out on the ACC championship. This is a team that pushed Indiana to its limits in a national championship game. Yeah. A team that nobody all year played close with outside of Ohio State. So it's. It's just something with the ACC. That's just how it goes.
No, I should mention I have Louisville at number 3. So yeah,
at number 4 for me, I got NC State. I see CJ Bailey as a dark horse Heisman Trophy winner. You talked about their schedule earlier in the video and how it doesn't line up. I don't think their schedule is really all that tough. I think Virginia on the road will be a little bit difficult. At Vanderbilt, I think will be a difficult game, but both of those games are easily winnable games.
Yeah.
Then Louisville at home, I think you had them winning that one. And then you don't really play anybody else after Louisville at home. I mean, you get Wake Forest at home, at Stanford, Cal at home, Duke at home, Syracuse at home, at Florida State, not North Carolina. So I think this NC State team's I have them winning 9. I have them going 9-3, 10-2.
Here's my thing is this with this NC State rivalry. Road game against Virginia week 0. Road game against Vanderbilt. Road game across the country against Stanford late.
It's after a bye week, though, so I don't think that really matters.
It is after a bye week. They do play Louisville. I just don't see here's the thing. If they had Hollywood Smothers, and we talked about this, if they had Hollywood Smothers, I'd probably have them going 10-2. But with this team, I just don't see NC State getting all the way up there. I don't see it at all. I'm low on NC, at least relative to you.
Yeah.
I'm low on NC State, but I still have them going 6-3 in conference. So take that as you will. Like I'm relatively high on them compared to this consensus, just not as high as you are. Syracuse, give me your reasons, and then I'm going to refute them here with why Syracuse. Why Syracuse is not a 500 team? I'll give you that. 500.
I could see them being 500, but that to me is like best case scenario. Is Fran Brown a good head coach? Yeah. He's got a good style to him. Is he a winner? Sort of. But the biggest thing for me is I don't see them having that great of weapons. I don't think their defense is that good. And Jelly coming back, yes, he looked great last year with them, but he's coming off of a torn Achilles. There's a lot of people that come off of torn Achilles and don't look the same. And a big part of his game is his ability to run the football and scramble around and make plays happen. And that's what he did early on in the season last year. And so I don't see this Syracuse team having any sort of pulse consistently on offense to put games together for an entire game, put drives together for the entire game. And I don't think that the defense is going to be that great.
Here's the reason why. Here's my case for Syracuse is this, because I have them going 9-3, which is incredibly high, higher than anybody. But here's my rationale why.
I don't think Fran Brown has them finishing that high.
Fran Brown has them finishing 12-0, buddy, and you know that.
No.
Yes. Just watch his Miami-Syracuse anyway. Here's the thing. What did they go first year of Fran Brown?
I think 9-3.
9-3. Here's the thing.
But who was their quarterback then?
Kyle McCord. But guess what? Steve Angeli and Kyle McCord are not that far off. And here's the reason. Okay, buddy. Here's the reason.
Here's the reason. Because Steve Angeli used to play for Notre Dame.
No. This has nothing to do with this has everything to do with him being. This has everything to do with him being angry that Steve Angeli killed Clemson last year.
I don't care that he
killed Clemson last year.
So did everybody. I don't care.
No, but this was immediately after you see this Syracuse team keep up with teams like Tennessee, beat Clemson well on the road. This is a team in Syracuse.
He's bringing up Clemson as a good win now, but tells me all last year and all this year how they suck.
No. I'm not saying they suck. I'm not saying
but he'll use it in this argument as a good win.
No. Let me finish here. First of all, beating Clemson on the road, I give you that. Beating Clemson on the road, no matter what, is a good win. Generally, when it's an on the road against the Clemson is top 3 most difficult wins on the road in the ACC. And I don't know whether they're number 1, but they're at least in the top 3. Here's the other thing with Syracuse. I do think their offensive line got dramatically better. Their weapons are not bad, and their defense I do think is underrated. And because Fran Brown is a defensive guy, and again, you look at last year. Again, I'll give this example: Notre Dame game. They have 3, maybe even 4. I don't know whether they got the 4th guy. 3 quarterbacks play. They were on their 5th string quarterback at the end of the Notre Dame game. They had thrown. It was 28-0 by the time the offense took the field. Notre Dame's offense hadn't taken the field, and it's 28-0. It's 35-0 by the end of the first quarter. This is a Syracuse team, and I use that as an individual example. You can go and look at other games. This is a Syracuse team that without Steve Angeli, it's not a good team. So if he gets injured, I agree with you. This is a bad Syracuse team. But does Syracuse get to that level that they did before? Yeah, I think they do. Yes, do they have an Orlando Gatson? No. But do I think they have weapons that could get to that level? I do think they do. And they also don't play the biggest dogs in the schedule. They don't play Miami. They don't play Georgia Tech. They do play Notre Dame, but Notre Dame is a non-conference game. And they do play Pitt and Louisville, but I do think I had those as their losses. So I think that their wins are very manageable. Going on, I think I went, so you number 3.
Yeah, my number 3 coming in is SMU. A lot like you said, Rhett Lashley, just a great head coach. Kevin Jennings, a good quarterback. He's going to win you some games, and they're just going to win. That's what they've done since they've came into the ACC. They beat Miami last year. They were in the ACC championship the year before that. They're just a good team, and they continue to just replace the talent that they lose and stay just as productive on both sides of the ball. Although the secondary sucked last year, and the pass defense, that'll have to improve. But it's one of those things I look at. It can't be any worse. They had the worst power.
How much better is it going to get?
I haven't checked the end of season stats, but I know at the time that they were playing Clemson, they had the worst pass defense in the Power 4.
Sure didn't get better.
105 out of the entire FBS. So, that's got to get better. How much better does that get? Like you said, I'm not sure, but they've made it work even with that bad pass defense. Yeah. They've still made it work. 9-4 last year. So, even with that horrible pass defense. So that's why I'm saying I have them 3rd, because it can't get any worse defensively in the secondary. So, and then just trusting Lashley and Kevin Jennings, I think that you have a 9-10 win football team again.
Yeah, and I think that that's fair. I'm a little bit lower on them, but I could see them getting up to this point. Do I think they do? Not really, but I don't know. Maybe they do. Like that's one that I would not be surprised that you're right, and I would not be surprised if I'm right. Like I wouldn't be shocked either. I would only be shocked if they go below 500. That's the only way that I'm shocked with this SMU team. Going into number 1, I have a 2-way tie. So I'll just finish off my ACC championship here. Miami, number 1, I think we have this. Yeah. This is an easy win. This is an easy, no points allowed. Like I think that this is if Miami does not win the ACC, what is it going to take for Miami to win the ACC?
If Miami can't win the ACC this year, or at least win the regular season ACC this year, I would fire Mario Cristobal. I don't care how good his recruiting is. I don't care how good any of it is. He's yet to play in an ACC championship. Even last year when he went to a national championship, he still blew 2 games, and you can't do that.
Yeah, but you can get away. Just look at Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman's lost to Stanford, Marshall, and Northern Illinois. But in the Northern Illinois year, he went to the national championship. And this was one-on-one coverage with Jeremiah Smith. How dumb that was, away from possibly tying it up and going in overtime. Which would have been overtime. That would have been such a game. I would have lost all nerves. Probably lost 5 years on my life from that. I mean, as a Notre Dame Cubs and Bears fan, this hasn't gotten much better. That Caleb Williams game, it was so close. It was so close. It went from ecstatic to horrible. But Miami, easy win. If they don't, I just don't see why. They could beat Notre Dame. They could not. I don't know. I think that's a pretty 50-50 game, in my opinion. I give the edge to Notre Dame because it's a home game, but outside of that, that's pretty close. Number also in that top spot for the ACC championship, Georgia Tech. And here's my reason why I do think Georgia Tech, I do think Georgia Tech and Brent Key is a consistent player in the ACC. And this is the reason why I struggle to put anybody over Georgia Tech. SMU, I could see putting over Georgia Tech because Rhett Lafley has been consistent. Jeff Brom has not been consistent enough to get to the ACC championship game. And I think the defense should be better under Georgia Tech. Who else do I put in this game? I just don't know who else to put in the game if it's not Georgia Tech. Obviously, if Clemson, if all the pieces come together, they could make the ACC championship game. But
I mean, that's who I have it too. One, I'm a Clemson fan. 2, the only reason I just got a good feeling about the year. But Clemson is one of those teams you can make an argument for them to finish anywhere from 2 to 10.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're gonna get from them.
Well, are you going to have a run game this year? Are you going to have a good
Exactly. You don't know what the quarterbacks. You know what the offensive line is going to. The offensive line is going to be pretty good. You know the running back room has a lot of talent, but will that equate to anything? Who knows? The quarterback, he was a 5-star recruit. What will he do? The wide receiver core is going to be pretty solid, one of the best in the conference. But that doesn't matter if you don't have a quarterback who can get them the ball. Defensively, I think. Defensive line, I don't think you lose much there. We talked about that earlier. I think the biggest concerns I think secondary improves as Tom Allen gets a lot of the guys that can fit his scheme in. But I think my biggest concerns defensively for Clemson is depth at defensive tackle and depth at linebacker. Yeah. I think you have a great linebacking core when it comes to the starters, but I think if you lose a guy or two to injury, it could get bad quick at that linebacker spot. But so I guess we'll run through our standings one more time.
Yeah, you go. I'll go right ahead, and then you finish up. UNC and Boston College at the bottom, Florida State and Stanford at 14, Cal at 13, Wake Forest at 12, Duke and NC State at 10, Clemson at 9, Virginia, SMU, and Virginia Tech at 6, Pitt, Louisville, and Syracuse at 3, Georgia Tech and Miami in the ACC championship game going 8-1 in conference.
Yep. So for me, coming in at 17, I got Boston College, North Carolina, Stanford, Syracuse, Wake Forest, Florida State, Duke, Cal, Pitt, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Louisville, NC State, SMU, Clemson, and Miami.
Yeah, and that's going to wrap up today's video. Make sure if you're watching on my channel, you go over to the American Football Network and hit that subscribe button. I think I have both of the subscriptions up here. So we close out today's video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See you next time.